said I'ma crush it. Call me.
Hi, I'm Anthony Walker, part-time superhero and your host of Unsung, our region's nonprofit online news magazine show. Once again, we come to you from Sorgatron Media Studios. We here at Unsung have enjoyed meeting so many great people that are making our community and world a better place. We hope you like meeting them too, and we have some wonderful guests today from Addison Behavior Care and the Rites of Passage program. The organization recently returned from a civil rights trip, and we will hear all about it. In our video spotlight, Mon Valley Initiative brings a little Mad Men to Turtle Creek. First, let's take a look at photographs can illuminate certain events that impact people's lives. Messages depicted in these digital images can vary. Some photos highlight the horrors of war or famine, while others depict the joy of a birth or homecoming. Neil Alexander, who was diagnosed with the neurodegenerative disease amyotrophic lateral sclerosis in August 2011, has chosen to use photos to illustrate his battle with this debilitating and deadly disease. He will also use this medium to help spread ALS awareness. For his awareness efforts, the ALS Association's Western PA chapter is honoring Alexander and his wife and caregiver Suzanne in May during ALS Awareness Month for the annual ALS Across America campaign. This national campaign pays tribute to people with ALS, otherwise known as Lou Gehrig's disease, and their caregivers as role models. These individuals inspire the association and the ALS community as they make a positive difference by spreading ALS awareness and by living their lives to the fullest. As part of the ALS Awareness Month, the ALS Association hosts National ALS Advocacy Day and Public Policy Conference in Washington, D.C., May 13th through 15th. The conference is the single largest gathering of the ALS community and empowers people with ALS and their families with the ability to play an active role in advocating for treatment and cure through meeting with members of Congress. This outreach to elected officials has helped to achieve many significant victories for people with ALS, from waiving the 24-month Medicare waiting period for people with ALS to improving benefits for military veterans with the disease who are twice as likely to develop ALS as the general public. This conference also helped lead to the establishment of a national ALS registry and has more than $650 million in funding for ALS research. According to Merritt Spear, Executive Director of the ALS Association's Western PA chapter, Alexander plans to attend the conference along with staff and volunteers from the Western PA chapter. To learn more about this conference, you can visit the address on your screen. Pittsburgh Northside neighbors the Andy Warhol Museum and Allegheny General Hospital's Center for Traumatic Stress in Children and Adolescents Today announced a collaborative project that will explore the potential for art to help children with post-traumatic stress disorder heal. Beginning in June, the project features art viewing and art making workshops developed for traumatized children and adolescents. The activities are facilitated by artist educators from the Warhol's Education Department and will include Pittsburgh area children and adolescents ages 7 to 17 years old who have developed PTSD symptoms. Additional information about the Warhol is available at warhol.org. The Pittsburgh community gathered to honor its outstanding community service volunteers for the annual Jefferson Awards at Carnegie Music Hall in April. A total of 48 honorees were selected by a judging panel from more than 100 award nominations received during 2011, and each received a Bronze Jefferson Award medallion. They represent the unsung heroes that work tirelessly in our community to feed the hungry, help the sick, and give to the needy in our neighborhoods on a daily basis. Of the honorees, 6 were selected as Jefferson Award finalists by a committee of 10 representatives from local public and private sectors. In addition to a medallion, each received $1,000 for the nonprofit organization of his or her choice, and one, Lindsay Hartgrove of Allegheny Center Alliance Church, was chosen to represent Pittsburgh at the National Jefferson Awards that will be celebrated over 2 days in Washington, D.C. in June. Mr. Hargrove from McKees Rocks volunteers with the Aftercare Jail Prison Ministry at the Allegheny Center Alliance Church to provide Christian-oriented support for ex-offenders. A former felon and crack cocaine addict, he is nearing his 19th year of sobriety and has turned a troubled life into a mission to help ex-offenders reintegrate into society. Without further ado, let's send it out to the Addison Behavior Care and learn about how their Rites of Passage program is going.
The Rites of Passage program is a 2-year grant funded from the Heinz Endowments in an effort for us to reach out to the community, the Wilkinsburg community in particular.
It's a program where the men of the community will take the younger boys and teach them survival skills or skills that teach them how to become men.
And so what the Rites of Passage program does is, for at least 1 year, they are surrounded by men who are affirming their masculinity.
We collaborated with the Wilkinsburg Athletic Association, primarily their football team, in an effort to build some unity and cohesion amongst the participants, and also branch out our resources to the Wilkinsburg Athletic Association.
Well, the affirmation circle is something we do at the beginning and at the end. What it does is we come together and we talk about and we say, I am because we are. And it basically puts us all on the same page of togetherness, a unity thing, that there's no forward progress without the whole group moving forward.
We kind of like to simulate it to the same as the football team. You have a football team before the game, they get real hyped, they jump around in a circle, they chant, things of that nature. So we wanted to do something to that similar of nature, to where we come together before we go into our activities. We talk about how we feel today, what we're here for, and we make sure that we're here for a common goal. So that's what the affirmation circle is about.
We're in our educational phase now, which we're at their tail end, they'll be getting ready to meet with the Griot Circle in about a week or so, which the Griot Circle is a group of elders to ask them different questions about what they learned through the phases, which basically helps us track their progress.
We want to teach them more. There's more than just Martin Luther King in our history books, and there's more than just the civil rights movement. There were a lot of things that happened before the civil rights movement. So we do that, like how you have unsung. We talk about the unsung people in the civil rights movement and unsung African Americans. So, and that's something that they don't get in school, and unfortunately is not coming in. I don't see it happening in the curriculum of any public school system anytime. So. The cultural phase, we were talking about African customs and tradition. And then in January, we started the education phase, which I'm primarily responsible for. The education phase, we want to talk about the history of African Americans in the United States of America as it relates to education and as it relates to also right.
That's why we had this trip, which was a civil rights tour. We started a trip on April 4th. We actually arrived in Memphis, Tennessee, which we toured the Lorraine Motel, which was basically the National Civil Rights Museum there, but it was actually the anniversary of Martin Luther King being slain there. So Jesse Jackson, the kids got to see Jesse Jackson and actually hear him speak. A couple of us got a chance to take a picture with Jesse Jackson.
We stopped in Selma. You may or may not know, the famous Pettus Bridge, where the march from Selma to Montgomery took place for voters' rights. So we actually stopped at the Pettus Bridge, and we had the kids actually walk across that bridge. Now, we weren't going to have them walk 50 miles to Montgomery, but at the end of that bridge, there was the Voters' Rights Museum, and they actually got to tour that for free. And that was actually another pleasant surprise, because we didn't know that Voters' Rights Museum was at the other side of the bridge.
When we actually were in Jackson, Mississippi, we actually went to the Medgar Evers house.
One thing that really stuck out was when we went to Medgar Evers' house, and then we seen what the rooms and everything that they lived in, and we seen where the bullets came from in the windows. And it was emotional to us when she came in, and I know it was emotional to her too, to come to the house where her husband was slain.
And there was a knock on the door. Miss Evers actually walked in, so our young boys got a chance to not only meet her, but talk to her, hug her.
When Mrs. McGrevers came in and I gave her a hug, it was kind of emotional to be touching some pretty much history and thinking of what she went through when it happened.
And it was a pretty emotional thing, because we had a couple old elders of our elder men that were there, and their age where they are at, they were old enough to know what happened and what she went through in life.
It's an experience. I mean, you're pretty much connected to those people. I mean, I've picked up cotton. I've seen pictures of slaves picking cotton. Pictures you probably won't find online. And, you know, you just kind of stare. You know, I've held shackles, you know, and it's just as silent as, it's like I said, it's an experience. It's like, what do you say to that? You know, you hear about slaves and things like that, but then you pick up the shackles that they were in, and you know, you empathize with it. You know, it does something to you. We would like to open it up next year to more kids across the city, because, you know, talking to some of the parents, they seen that this was a need, that there was a group that, you know, that could teach their young boys how to become men, and also experience them, expose them to history, which is very important. Or as a community, we need everyone. Like, there's people that could come in and speak to the kids, do different groups, to work with groups with us, especially when we're on our cultural phase. There's a lot of people in the community that know about African culture and things like that.
Basically, to get involved is just the volunteer. I mean, we have more than just a rites of passage program. We have an after-school program that runs through Tuesday through Thursday. We have spelling bees, Kwanzaa celebrations. So it's not just about just this rites of passage program, because one thing about rites of passage, it goes on throughout the rest of your life. I'm at Addison Behavioral Care. You can call at 412-731-2353. You can leave your message for me at the receptionist. I'll definitely call back. I'm very interested in hearing people that's interested and, you know, sign up with programs. If you're a youth, we have something for you. If you're an adult and you want to volunteer and work with our youth, we have something for you.
The folks with Rites of Passage has so much to tell us about their program, and we could only fit a small fraction of it here. To hear much more about the program and more details about the tremendous civil rights trip the students got to go on, look for the Unsung Uncut videos on pittsburghonvideo.org. In the meantime, the Mon Valley Initiative went with a 50s retro theme that could be right out of an episode of AMC's Mad Men, as they show off a refurbished house in Turtle Creek. Let's take a look. Moving forward to a future free of liver disease. That is the goal the volunteers and staff of American Liver Foundation work toward every day, and you can join them and make a difference as a participant in a Liver Life Walk. The walk is June 3rd at the Pittsburgh Zoo and PPG Aquarium. To register or support a team, you can visit the link on your screen. We Do Take Two. An Upper Lawrenceville love story will take place on May 19th. It is this year's Leadership Pittsburgh LDI class project. Details at popuppittsburgh.com. Global Solutions Pittsburgh's 63rd annual spring fundraiser will be held at the beautiful Pittsburgh Center for the Arts on June 14th from 6 to 9 p.m. This cocktail reception will include the open gallery and exhibits that the Center for the Arts has on hand. There will be light refreshments provided, as well as a cash bar. Cocktail attire suggested. Tickets for this year's fundraiser will be $20. For more information, you can visit the link on your screen. Well, that's all we have for you in this episode of Unsung. Be sure to tell your friends. Thank you for watching, and be sure to go over to pittsburghonvideo.org for our Unsung Uncut series and previous episodes. I've been your host, Anthony Walker, reminding you to keep it awesome, Pittsburgh. We'll see you next time.
So I said I'ma crush it. Call me the golden boy, cause it shine whenever I touch it. Don't rush it, the flow comes naturally. Actually, the whole hood after me. Masterpiece, I outran a pace car. And these dudes f***ing mad cause they can't even find a day job. I stay hard with or without Viagra, and I said the flow crush like the force of Niagara. I'm after a major label budget, but since I'm not pop top 40, they all scared to touch it.